developers. I am Igor Alcantara, and I'm here to bring you something actually very cool, and I hope you like it. It is about AutoML, but it's something that is not so common to find on YouTube or Qlik community on other places. So I recommend this if you already know how to work with AutoML, like create the experiments, deploy the experiments. If you know in how to use some of the deployment, like the scheduling deployment, for example, because the focus of this is just to use the real time prediction. And you might ask, well, why we don't have, like, we data voyagers do not have videos about AutoML? Well, they are adding. So I'm recording this on September 17, 2024, and they are adding a lot of new cool features. So I'm waiting a little bit so we get more features in, so then I will record some videos. Otherwise, I'll record a video, and then 2 weeks later, a month later, will become obsolete. Now, having said that, um, let's share my screen and let's work through it. So let me first show what you're gonna have as an end result. So this is an application that shows customer churn, and I have two different types of real-time prediction. So let me pick one specific customer. So let me pick this customer right here. And once I selected this customer, it says this customer is predicted to churn. So that's a problem. We want to keep this customer with the 43.57 probability, not a high probability, but it's still, let's work through it. Great. So this is one scenario, and this is calculated real time. It's responding to my selections. Pretty good. Now, let's see what will happen for me to change that customer. Now, this is the second piece where it's based not on your selection, but it's based on variables. And of course, you can combine the two, just use your creativity. So it's a month to month, a tenure is 9, DSL, internet service, online security, no, tech support, yes. Let's change that. Streaming TV, yes. Streaming movie, yes. All right. So then we got the same results. So let's see. There's a few things that I cannot change, like tenure. It's just time. I cannot change that. But what about if I change the internet service to fiber? Does it change? Well, then it's actually worse. It's increased the probability. Oh my gosh, what about if I cancel internet service? Well, still, so maybe that not that. So let's skip this. How about if they hire internet security? Well, then it changed. However, I don't think they're most likely to hire. I mean, they're trying to leave, so I have to do like some kind of promotion that convince them. So there's one probability. Let's bring this back. What about tech support? They do have tech support. I want to keep tech support because that's related to customer satisfaction. Streaming TV, they have it. What about if we remove streaming TV? Maybe they have all the streaming services, so you can reduce price. Okay, that might work. What about streaming movies? Maybe remove that. That might work as well. But I want to keep those services because those are revenue to my company. Now, how about if I change the contract? Instead of they paying month to month, they pay years subscription. Oh, that's better. Low probability and churn, customer churn predicted, no, which is what we want. So this is like responding real time. So we can build what if scenarios like this. How do we do it? Well, before I show you how we do it, let's just review a couple of things that we need. So first, you need to create an AutoML experiment. Once you have your module trained, you're happy with your module, I recommend you just to remove all of the features that has, let's get like a new version so I can show you. Remove all of the features where the feature importance, it is too low, which is what I did here. Remove all of these features. Let's keep it only the features, the columns that actually makes a difference, makes an impact. So then you deploy. Once you deploy, you pick any name. I'm not going to deploy it again because it's already deployed. But you pick any name, doesn't matter. Space, of course, align to your security. But what is important is you need to make sure this checkbox, enable real-time API access, is turned on. So then we create that. And then when you go to a deployment, your deployment needs to be active. So if you have the permission, just turn on active right here. If not, then you need to ask the administrator, whoever has access to approve a deployment, to approve the deployment, so then you can use it. Other than that, that's all you need. Now, pay attention on the features that are needed for that prediction. So we need to inform those features to the module when we are using. All right. Now, let me show you something else. Let's remove this thing here. This is not the real-time prediction, but of course I can use the connection. I can create a connection to AutoML deployment to make predictions in my load script. So I do have one here already created, but let's say I want to create another one. So you need, and that's required also for the real-time prediction. So you need a connection to the AutoML. And basically what you need to inform as an input it's one thing mandatory. It's what table contains the input information. Again, this is for the load script prediction, which is not the real time, but I want to show you something. So I want that. And so let's come here, create new connection. You need this connection, and if you don't see it, there's a specific role permission that you need, which was not part of this video, so we're not covering this. So I need the Qlik AutoML connection, and then you go to this drop down and find your connection. So this is the one that I need. And then what is the name of the table that will return? So let's call this just AutoML prediction. Let me remove the space. They want to return the SHAP statistics, apply data set. Not for this example. I usually love this, but not for this example. So what is the association field? That means what field that is my primary key. So it's customer ID. In that case, what name? I'm not going to create it, but then you give this a name. Then you test connection, succeed, then you create a connection. I'm not creating this one because I already have a connection created. So, which is basically same parameters. So once using the connection, so I'm clicking here to use the connection, like to select data. So then just inform the name of a resident table, select this, and insert script. Then you got this script. Look at this. Look at this. We have, we call it an extension, endpoints.script eval. So keep that in mind. And we have this structure. We will use something very similar. I can even copy this if I want, because it's a good idea. But I'm not gonna do it. Great. So if I run this, and the reason why I like to do this is because if I run it, I want to see what is returned by AutoML. Because when I'm doing real-time prediction, what do I want to return? Well, I want to return the prediction, and maybe I want to return the probability of the prediction. So these are two things I want to return. Great. Now that we know all of that, let's see how these both work. Remember, in our deployment, these are the columns that I need to provide. So instead of writing the script, writing the code, I'm going to do something different. I'm just going to show the properties, because if I type, it will just be typing, and then it will take like a lot of time. The syntax of this, I'm going to place it in the blog post in Data Voyager. So it's not going to be on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go to datavoyagers.net, find the link for these posts, and then you find like copy and paste of the script. So you can copy and paste and adapt to what you need. All right. And also on the description of the YouTube video, you will find the link to the blog post. So we all in the blog post. All right. So I have two ways here. So let me show this way, which is basically I'm providing the fields. And don't pass too much data. So I'm forcing this to only be displayed if I have one customer selected, because it doesn't make sense to show for multiple customers unless you put in a table. But that's basically, I don't see the, maybe I don't see a lot of use case for that, but but maybe a bar chart, a scatter plot. There's some interesting visualizations. But anyway, this is how I did it as KPIs. Let's take a look. Let me go to edit sheet. This is the layout container because I think it looked better in this way. I placed a big text object, just a white text object on top of it. That will be displayed if I don't have one customer selected. So if I remove this customer selected, then it shows this message. So let's make sure I have that one selected, then we can access this. Now let's go to the churn predicted. They're very, very similar. Let me go to the churn predicted. So value churn, edit properties, data, and let's see the script. So that's what we have. I can zoom in this a little bit so we can have a better visualization. So we need to call this function endpoints dot script eval str as in a string. And then we need two parameters. One parameter is this one here that I will describe in a minute. Basically, that's the connection to whatever we return with the script eval. And then we need the list of fields. They have to have the same name. The order do not matter, but they have to have the same name as the deployment required. All right. In this case, they have the same name, but let's say you're using and you in another application that renew the fields, so you need to rename them. Now, what we have here, script eval str, then you start with a single quote, and then you end that line with the single quote. And this is the whole first parameter. Then you do a comma, and then you add as many fields as needed. Now, inside the single quotes, you're gonna open curly brackets and you're gonna close curly brackets. This is a JSON format. So basically formatting a JSON here. Now, inside this first curly bracket, you have variables, column, value of the variable. And this is the format. The variable name in double quotes, column, and the value name in double quotes. So the first value is request type. The value for that is endpoint. It's always going to be like this. Comma, second variable, endpoint, all in double quotes, column, and then the endpoint, it's a list of values. So I have a JSON inside a JSON. So I need to open another curly brackets, open and close. This one highlighted right here. Now inside this inner JSON, I have two variables. One is connection name all together. Column, the value is the name of the connection you created with the space name. So I have the space name, which is data voiders, column, and the name of my collection, my connection, actually. And then comma, second variable, column. This is important. This is the column you want to return. So I want to return the churn predicted. That's the column I want to return in the real time. And then that's it. You close the two curly brackets and then list of fields. Now, it's sending these values to this connection and returning these values. That's what it's doing. Great. How about the other one? So let me go to the probability. And it's almost the same. Everything almost the same. What changes is the column we're returning. I want to return the probability, which is churn, yes. This column here, which is the probability of the churn be yes. That's it. Very good. List of fields. That's it. And then once you make selections, if I select a different one, then it will calculate according to that real time. You see how quick is this? Great. How about the other one right here? How about this one here? How does that work? Let me zoom back. How does that work? Very similar, but then I'm providing this variable. So first thing, you need to create the variables. So you go to variables and you create all of those variables. Basically, I call the same field name and I just put a v, lowercase v at the beginning, just my naming convention. You can use yours, no problem. So now that I have all the variables, then I will add ways that users can then select the things through this variable object. So you need to go to custom object right here, find Qlik dashboard bundle, and the object you want is variable input. So drag it and you have it. And I have different flavors, but this is all the same object. So let's go to contract, for example. Let's go to variable. Then you select the variable. Show as. I want to show as a drop down because I have 3 possible values for contract. And then in values, I want to change this to dynamic. And then you basically inform the possible values separated by a pipe, just like it shows here. So month to month, pipe 1 year, pipe 2 years. That's it. Same spelling. So be aware of the case sensitive. So capital M in this case. So make sure it's spelled correctly, of course. Then I did the same for internet service. So I had 3 options: DSL, fiber, and no, separated with a pipe. Now the tenure is a number from 0 to 72. So same thing, I created the variable, but then the show as, I pick a slider. Upgrade on drag, so I'm dragging and updating. And then I want minimum values 0, max 72, step 1, 1 by 1 number. And I want to have the label on the slider so I know what value is being displayed. These other ones, simple. Same thing, but the display, they show as buttons and display as row. And then dynamic values, same idea, yes and no. That's it. So that's what gives this pretty looking. How about the calculation? It's very, very similar to this, but instead of providing the field, I need to provide the variables. However, there's a trick. Let me show this one. So I'm providing the variables. This is a numeric. These are tags I'm doing inside single quotes, just like we do in Qlik. If this does not look familiar, I recommend you to study how to work with variables in Qlik. But that's the trick. I need to rename this to the field names because the order do not matter. So AutoML needs to know, the deployment needs to know, this is the tenure, this is the contract, this is the internet service field, etc. So you need to rename them to the exact name, and this is case sensitive that we have here. And then there we go. Everything else is the same. Like the column is the same. Good to go. And churn probability, same thing. You just change the column. That's it. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. However, the documentation it doesn't make that too clear. And at the moment I'm recording, I couldn't find any like simple good examples. In Qlik community, I couldn't find like any tutorial or anything. So then I decided, well, I think why not? Let's do it. Let's turn this back to the community. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you like this, I ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and then bookmark our blog, datavoyagers.net. So right here, you will see there's a QR code. You can access that to access our blog. So you see that all the videos in our YouTube channel, but also text. We write articles, blogs that are not in the YouTube. So I recommend you and ask you to subscribe to our YouTube, but the blog, you have everything as well. All right. Hope you like this. Thank you very much. See you next time.